I got a word for you pastors regarding the gray-haired people in your church. Next on the Metal Pulpit. Thanks for joining me, another Metal Pulpit, and I want to talk about the gray-haired people in your church. Coming from a pastor of a church, hopefully talking to a pastor or a support pastor or staff pastor, whatever the current trending word is for someone on staff at a church. I want to talk to you regarding old people, because I think as churches go in a direction of being trendy, relevant, let me say this really quick. If you have to say regarding your church, we're relevant, you're probably not. Okay, now I digress. Here's the deal. When my mom passed away 16 months ago, she passed away, I was hurt, I was destroyed, I was so many things emotionally. What really got me going though was that the church that she was a part of since she was born, one that my mom, my grandma helped start, never mentioned a thing about it. Nothing on Facebook. It was just one of those things. Maybe there was something said from the stage, but there was no mention of it on Facebook at all. Broke my heart, to be honest with you. It really did. When my dad decided to leave that church, he made mention of it a few times, and my mom was kind of the life of the party. She'd go to church, everyone talked to her. Dad told me that he goes to church, he sits in the back, nobody talks to him anymore. It's a real problem that churches have today, because in their quest to become relevant, to be trendy, all of these things, change their names from foundational names to churches that are like Epic, Journey, all of these things. Changing the name is going to do, as Chris Farley would say, jack squat if you're not willing to change the model of your church. Now, it's important that pastors, you take care of the old people in your church. Recognize them, honor them. I promise you this, those that have been in the church for a long time are the ones that got the church to where it is today. And so, yes, they may say, we don't do enough hymns. Yes, they may say, I don't agree with that song, or they may say a couple other things. They're with you. They're on board. It's not that they're old and out of touch. They were with that church from the very beginning, or for years and decades before, and they saw through the trendy stuff of that time, okay? The place that your church is at right now, being trendy and cool and contemporary, they were with that church back then when what was considered to be trendy, hip, and cool, okay? So they get it, okay? And quite honestly, all of us get to that point in life. I'm 45, and when I listen to contemporary Christian radio right now, it makes my ears bleed, okay? But then I find myself going back to, well, I want to hear more Keith Green, or we should hear more Rich Mullins and stuff. And I realize I'm the old guy, so I get it. But at the same time, we have to take care of the old people. This isn't a complicated message. This isn't an in-depth message, but I want to say that. Pastors, recognize the old people in your church. Because, again, they're the ones that have given of time, talent, treasure, prayers, all of these things to get your church, the church, to the place it needs to be today. Don't be like the church that when my dad left, they weren't going to do anything, but I messaged the pastor. I said, Jake Adams is leaving your church. He's moving up here. I wanted to make mention of that. And then they did take some time out to honor him. But does a church really need to be reminded of the older saints of the church in order to honor them? I don't think that should happen. And I think this is also important. When a pastor talks about the church, when a pastor brings up the history of the church, I think it's good for them to throw out some of those names. I think it's good for them to throw out some of those names and say, like, so-and-so and this person are the people that put in the blood, sweat, and tears to get us to where we are today. Because here's the deal, and I will place a bet on this. As a pastor, I will place a bet. The younger generation that are in the church today, as a whole, don't give of their time, talent, and treasure nearly as much as the generations that have gone past. I promise you that when you have a sign up for some kind of outreach, you will get more people in their 40s and over than you will in the younger ages. Why? It's culture. It's just how it is today. So guys, pastors, take some time, honor those that have been in the church for a long time, the gray-haired people, because without them, you would not be where you are today. Shoot me your thoughts, your questions, pastorbobadams@gmail.com. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a good day.